Commissioners to order, March 5th, 2024. We could please start by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could just stand for a moment of silence. Don't have anything right offhand, but there's plenty to pray for overseas. Hoping that everything will finally get straight and the fewer lives are lost as we go through this troubling time. So let's keep everybody in their prayers. Thank you very much. Tonight is meeting announcements. This is a legislative day. Time is allotted at the end of each meeting for the commissioners to receive comments from the public. We have 4 consent items. Have regular session minutes dated February the 27th, 2024. We have our liquor minutes dated February the 27th, 2024. We have our public hearing minutes dated February the 27th, 2024. And we have closed session minutes dated February the 27th, 2024. So I'd like to entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. County Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. You do have a legislative session this evening, and you have 3 matters before you. CHR 1, 2024, CHR 2, 2024, and CHR 3, 2024. 1 and 2 are before you for third reading. That means tonight you can vote on those bills if you wish to pass them. CHR 1, 2024 regards the property tax credit for commerce zones. And CHR 2, 2024 is the new land use ordinance, where you are repealing the existing land use ordinance and enacting a new one. But just as a caveat to that, the critical areas component of that has to be reviewed by the state. So after you pass it, it'll go to the state of Maryland. CAC will review it. They will have comments. That'll get to Mr. Mackey. His great staff will probably be working on some things to address those comments. Then it comes back to you, and Mr. Mackey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the commissioners would have to hold a public hearing again on the CAC comments.
Full legislative process.
Right. And then we would take
Now,
another
question for you. If it goes to the critical area commission and they make changes, I guess they recommend changes.
Right.
And you're saying that then we have another public hearing. We have the authority to change something the critical area commission comes up with?
Well, I've learned very recently that we have the ability to negotiate with them.
We say that again?
We have the ability to negotiate with them.
So we can't automatically change something. We just will tell them we'll talk to them about it and try to reason with them maybe.
Yeah, I think if we want it a certain way and they say no, we can't do it the way we want, but we have the opportunity to try to convince them that maybe our way or some type of compromise between what they have proposed and what we have proposed will work. But we can't get our land use ordinance fully enacted until we have CAC approval.
I'm just curious because it struck me odd that it's going to go to them and then we have to have a public hearing. Well, no matter what I didn't know whether we had the authority to just outright change what they've said, but you've cleared it up that we have to negotiate with them maybe if something's a little more than we think is.
Or the way we did it in the past and the way we've done it with other zoning text amendments is that when they have comments, then we have to kind of go through that zoning text amendment process a second time.
Okay.
So,
Well, that
just
make-
because this whole land use ordinance is a big zoning text amendment process in a way, and we'll get comments that we will then have to then amend our ordinance.
So it's
In fact-
not over after tonight. There's still more steps in the process.
I understand, but I just cleared it up, so I did, but that just struck me a little odd that why we would have to do that if they have the authority to do what they want anyhow, but, okay.
Unusual process.
Now, Mr. President, with respect to the two bills that are for you for third reading, as always, you can pass them, you can reject them, or either one of them you can pass with amendments. So based on the comments that you received at public hearings and comments that came in after the public hearing before the close, if a commissioner wants to offer any amendments to the bill as written, the commissioner would have that opportunity, and you could pass a bill as amended. With respect to CHR 3/2024, that is the short-term rental tax, which we used to refer to as the hotel rental tax.
Right.
And we've had prior discussions about that at past commissioner meetings between the Economic Development Office, the Finance Office, the Commissioner's Office. We think we have a good product for you for your consideration. And if you wish to go forward with that, then staff would schedule that for a public hearing. So the first thing you would do is entertain a motion to go into legislative session.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to go into legislative session.
I'll make a motion that we go into legislative session.
I need a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We are in legislative session. So let's take them just as they are on the,
So
that's okay with you?
that's fine with me. So 1/2024 would be the Commerce Zone property tax credit. And again, that is, so these credits are not transferable. So if a business gets the credit and then they sell the business, the credit would not go to the new owner of the business.
Would not automatically go, but they could, if they were going to do the same type of work, they might be able to come in and make an
They
argument.
need to apply. It's not something that's going to be automatically
If they were
transferred.
going to significantly improve the property to raise the assessed value, they could apply for this.
I got you.
But they would not get the credit that the previous owner invested.
Okay, so should I now call to see if anybody has any comments, or do you want to read part of it first, or
Well, I
or
can.
have Jamie come up and
Maybe we
explain
have
it
Jamie just
real
come
quick?
up and give a quick overview, and then if any commissioners, we've already had a public hearing, and the time for comments from the public is closed, so Jamie could give a quick overview, then if any commissioners have any questions, they can ask Jamie, and then you can entertain a motion and a second. If there's any discussion, you would have that, and then you would go to your vote.
Okay, Jamie, you want to give us a real brief?
Yeah, the Commerce Zone tax credit was enacted by the county commissioners in 2017, and that was to give a property tax credit to businesses that had a significant capital investment to improve their property for business purposes. And it's in all the PFAs throughout the county, only in PFAs. And it's, if there's an enterprise zone, the enterprise zone is more of a credit. So these are for the areas that do not qualify for the enterprise zone application, such as the 301 corridor, the Wharton Industrial Area, which are growth areas. And this change to the Commerce Zone tax credit, as Mr. Yeager stated, just makes it not transferable when the property is sold.
Very good. Well, gentlemen, if we have any, well, should I ask for comments?
If there's any questions that the commissioners have for
Yeah,
Jamie?
we have any, either one of you have any further
No.
questions? I
No,
think it's pretty straightforward. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt Code Home Rule 1-2024 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Jamie.
Now, next, you have the land use ordinance, which is CHR 2, 2024. And Mr. Mackey, could you come forward and we would have the same process for this as we did for the previous bill. You've already had comments from the public, and we did keep the record open, and my understanding is that there were a few comments submitted before the close of comment period. And so if you have any questions for staff, you can ask staff tonight, and then you can entertain a motion and then have discussion on the motion.
Okay. Mr. Mackey, Carla, welcome tonight. Thank you for coming. Been a long time coming. Like you said once before, you even had hair when we started this process. So it's been a while.
And we're excited to be here as we kind of, to me, draw conclusion to the first biggest part, really the major part of the project, where we'll have some responses from CAC, and we're starting on the mapping process, but those are both sort of, I think, smaller parts of the process. This really was the big part. It's exciting to have gone through this. I believe it was January of 2020 that we put out an RFP to get a consultant and start that process, so it's been quite some time. I believe task force first meeting was October of 2020, so it's great to be here. I'm not going to summarize the bill. I think we've done it a number of times. I just want to say thank you for your patience and your input.
Well, I think we want to turn that around and thank you all for the hard work. We tried to make that clear at the last public hearing that, as you said, it's been a long haul, and a lot of people have had comments and advice and worked through this thing. So we're all glad that we've come to this point in the road. So with that, if there's no any questions.
No questions.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt Code Home Rule 2-2024 to rescind and replace the land use ordinance in its entirety, and to direct staff to forward the adopted land use ordinance to the Critical Area Commission for its review and comments.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. That was quick. Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. And we'll, I guess, how long you think it will send that? The Critical Area Commission doesn't have it yet, or do they?
We got a preview.
They had a draft of it, so they received the copy that we introduced, but they haven't begun the official review process. I was in discussions with them yesterday, and if all kind of goes well, once we officially submit it, it should be on their June 7th agenda. So we'll keep you updated as that moves forward. You know, hopefully there won't be anything that hangs it up. We tried to follow their model ordinance and not deviate too much, so we're hoping that it all goes well.
Very good.
So when this comes back, we will have a chance, once again, if there's something that we want to rescind, we could.
Well, so
Or
what
change.
happens is it will go to both the program committee, subcommittee, and the full commission. So the program committee will make a recommendation to the full commission. The full commission will then review it. Obviously, we'll have a chance to be there, answer questions, present any information they need, and they will make a decision. And their decision can be to approve it as it is, approve it with conditions on changes that we make, or to deny it. And so imagine it will be conditions for us to then make changes. We'll have then that full list. We'll probably get some of that feedback before it ever goes to the public for their review, for their committees. So I think we'll have a good sense of where things stand and what we might be looking at, and maybe kind of work some of that out before it goes for their vote. And then, as we said, we'll get a letter from them with everything we then have to do. We will prepare text amendments and do the legislative process that we do for any other zoning text amendment.
When we get the response back from Critical Area Commission, let's just hypothetically say that they're trying to make something more restrictive or something. We'll have an opportunity to review those recommended changes. will the public have an opportunity to see those changes?
So the staff will prepare a staff report, so we'll know before it ever goes to the program committee, kind of where things are going. We would have an opportunity, which is a public meeting. So there would be an opportunity there for us to initiate discussions. Then again, the full committee, which is now held on a different day than the subcommittee meetings, is an open meeting. Again, there will be an opportunity for us to present and have discussion. And then, again, as it goes through that full process, the Planning Commission would hold a public hearing for a zoning text amendment. It would be introduced as legislation. You would hold a public hearing for comment. And I think if there is, if we get comments as we go through that process of things that, we might want to tweak from what they're recommending, even after we've already initially responded to their comments, the process kind of can continue. So I think there will be opportunities for them to give us feedback, for us to respond.
Very good.
And at that same time, we're going to propose the Forest Conservation Act amendment that General Assembly passed last year. There was intended to be instructions from DNR about that, but they're unable to do that. So we're going to put it together. I think Carl is confident that it's not going to be too difficult, so that'll come in at the same time for that second round. So, because we have to comply, I believe, by July 1st of this year with the changes.
Okay. Very
And
good.
we should be able to do that.
I assume we've taken our vote, right? So we're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. President, the last item you have is the legislation for the short-term rental tax. This is CHR 3, 2024. And this basically repeals and reenacts your hotel tax ordinance. And the highlights of it, it makes your ordinance consistent with state code. It provides for penalties for failure to pay. And it provides for a 90-10 split for tax collected with respect to short-term rentals that are located in a municipality, because the county is collecting the tax. So we would take a 10% administrative fee for providing that service, and the remaining 90% would go to the town.
Plus, we also get the revenue from any Airbnbs that are in the county.
Correct. We get 100%
Right.
of the revenue for any that are not within an incorporated town. And Jamie is here. If you could come forward, and if there's anything that you wish to add. I know you spent a lot of time on this project over the last several months.
I don't think there's anything I need to add. Just Mr. Mayor said.
I'd like to. I'd like to make one suggestion. I do know during our public hearing for the land use ordinance, there was a young lady was in here with some concerns about Airbnb springing up, and I listened to what she said. I think there was some testimony that she might have sent some correspondence. I'd really like, if it's not going to create too much problem, I'd like for Bill to have a little while to take a look at those and see if, just think about if there are ways we can address some of these concerns or not.
I think we're looking at two separate things, though. This code home rule is only to update our current code to make it in compliance with the state code, but then also to make it very clear what the parameters are for the towns in the county and how we'll do the revenue sharing, to get the MOUs on the same page. So this is about collection. This really is not about enforcement.
I understand.
We are working on, as County Administrator Shelley Heller has a meeting scheduled with myself as well as planning and zoning to look at enforcement. But enforcement is separate from actually, because this is under the taxation, Chapter 152 taxation. So if there's going to be enforcement, that would be somewhere else in the code.
Right. Now,
Am I speaking correctly?
Yeah, you are. There is one thing I would add to that. We do have a provision in here that says that the Airbnbs or the short-term rentals have to be in compliance with all applicable codes, which would include our zoning code, and if they're in a municipality, with any municipal codes. So that is touched on here, but the specific regulations as far as zoning go would go in the land use ordinance, not in this tax code. They're only relevant to the tax code in a sense that the short-term rentals are required to follow the zoning regulations, whatever they may be. And if they're not, that would subject them to be in violation and subject them to penalties.
Well, I'm not, and believe me, I'm not going to hold this up today. I'm just thinking further down the road, if Bill could take a look at some of the issues that might have been raised and just give us some thought as to if there's some ways we could add some more language when in the future to, because it's going to be a little tough because these things are all over the place now. We're sort of regulating something way after they took place. So there's going to be hurdles to jump and things that, so, I mean, I'm going to entertain a motion that we approve this, obviously, but if you could maybe take a look at the correspondence we got in the testimony that there was a few concerns and see if there's a way that we can address some of them moving forward.
Yeah, and you can always, if Bill finds something that may be worthy of a text amendment, that's something that he could present to you down the line to do a text amendment. And I agree, these came up awful fast, 10 years ago they didn't exist, or maybe 12 years ago they didn't exist. And so they've grown exponentially. So there's a lot of trial and error here as we learn how to deal with these uses, because historically we never had them. That's why in the previous zoning codes they weren't addressed, because we just didn't have them and they weren't contemplated at the time our previous codes were adopted.
And doing something after the fact like this, when there's so many of them around, we're probably going to make a mistake, or there's probably something out there we can correct.
Yeah,
But the only way you know is if you go ahead and do it, and if it's too late to.
So I will say that this is definitely a legitimate concern, and this is a concern that's been raised by people in the town of Chestertown as well. Chestertown is looking at their ordinance, and I actually reached out to Councilman O'Brien today because I attended their meeting last night, and they were talking about short-term rental ordinances and enforcement. And I think we all listened to the concerns, and they're legitimate concerns, and they definitely should be addressed. So I think staff is on it. We are looking into it. We would like to coordinate it with the town, because the closer we are in our regulations and ordinances, the easier it is for people to do business in Kent County.
Right.
And I will share that full enforcement by these platform companies, they project that for every 100 short-term rentals, you need a full-time equivalent person to do enforcement. So we just need to keep that in mind, not to say that we can't do it, but we just need to keep that in mind as we're going through what enforcement might look like.
Yeah, and I think Jamie has a good point in that for the business owners, the homeowners, if the regulations are consistent between each incorporated town and the county outside the towns, that gives them one set of rules, or close to one set of rules to follow. Otherwise, it's a little bit confusing for them, because you could have a Chestertown address and you may or may not be in the town limits of Chestertown. So if we have in our zoning something different that the town has in its zoning, that could be confusing for a property owner, because they just see Chestertown, and it's going to take a little bit of research or effort to determine which set of regulations apply. So I think those are all good points. And as Jamie did mention, we had different MOUs with different towns simply because they were just enacted at different times and different people involved. And so Jamie has put one MOU together, and that's being distributed to all the towns. So at least as far as our relationship with the towns, it's going to be the same for each one, which brings some consistency.
And you'll have the same little bit of not confusion, but you'll have to check it out when it, who receives the money for it, whether, you know, whether you're in town or out of town. And
The nice thing is that the new software that you approved and that we are currently working on implementing actually is driven by GIS data that has those town boundaries.
Mhm.
So it will easily be able to be sorted for the town of Rock Hall, the town of Chestertown, and we'll be able to know immediately where the taxes go, and we'll be able to notify them if they're in the town of Rock Hall that here's where you go to look at what you need to do to also be in compliance with
Good.
Rock Hall's rules.
very good. Any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to introduce Code Home Rule 3-2024, short-term rental tax.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
I just want to publicly say, because I know that there has been confusion, this is not a new tax. This is not a new tax. This is just cleaning up our language, cleaning up our MOUs as time went on, you know, and as Mr. Yeager said, different people, different MOUs. We just wanted everything to be consistent. So this is not a new tax. This is something that everyone should have been paying all along.
Makes sense.
Good point, sir.
Makes
As,
sense.
as far as the enforcement part goes,
Yes.
do you think that your little committee could have something ironed out or a suggestion for us to consider before the final adoption of the land use ordinance?
It should be. I mean, we are, I don't remember exactly when our first meeting is. It's next week or the week after. But we are looking at copies of other ordinances that include enforcement. We're looking at the standards that the state of Maryland has put out. So we're hoping to have a recommendation in front of you, you know, in the near-ish future, which should be quicker than the turnaround of the full land use ordinance from the critical area.
Because I'm pretty confident that the lady that testified with her concerns, which were legitimate concerns, that we should try to address those
Absolutely.
at some point when it comes time to actually adopt.
Right, and
The
this
land
can
use
be a separate zoning text amendment, or it could be
Yeah.
incorporated in the,
Yeah, we could actually go,
We can do it
as we
any
did,
time.
we've approved it, but we can go back at any time and do a text
Correct.
amendment
That's right.
and
correct, that's a
update.
living document.
Yep.
So if we're talking about the land use ordinance, because I had a question as I was sitting back there, is it since it's gone to the critical area for their review, is it only items that pertain to the critical area that we can make changes on now? Or can we make changes such as enforcement on short-term rentals? And I guess that's more of a question for Bill and Myron.
So the whole ordinance gets reviewed. I mean, they're only gonna comment on critical area parts, but we have to adopt the entire ordinance, and its effectiveness is stayed by their review period.
So we have an opportunity to amend that before, or
So I wouldn't recommend.
you think a text amendment would be a
Only
best?
because some of the places where short-term rentals are permitted are in critical area, so then we would have to go back again. So I would wait and do that as a separate.
You think a text amendment would be the best way to do that?
After adoption of the
Right.
full amended.
Otherwise, the whole land use ordinance.
Right.
Very
That
good.
makes sense.
Makes sense. Yep.
But
Thank you.
we'll have a recommendation for you, so we know, so we're all talking about the same thing in the near future.
All right.
You want to entertain a motion to go out of legislative
Yes,
session
but-
and back into your regular meeting?
Exactly.
I'll make a motion that we go out of legislative session and back to our open meeting.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We are in open session. Ms. Jillian Coleman, Parks and Rec Director. Welcome tonight.
Welcome, good evening. Just stand over here for this one. So I'm here this evening to recognize our Kent County Parks and Recreation Youth Basketball League coaches. Youth basketball coaches are the backbone of Kent County Parks and Rec Basketball League. They generously are dedicating their time and expertise to mentor and guide our young athletes. Their passion for the game and commitment to helping players develop their skills both on and off the court is truly admirable. These dedicated individuals not only teach the fundamentals of basketball, but also instill the importance values such as teamwork, sportsmanship, and and perseverance. Their mentorship goes beyond the game, shaping young athletes into well-rounded individuals both on and off the court. We are grateful for the contributions of these youth basketball coaches who play a vital role in shaping the future of our athletes and fostering a love for the game. This evening, I'm honored to have Paul Tu here and John Mann, who are both volunteers and volunteer at our basketball youth teams. I know our basketball league is summing up a little bit. I know John's team is done. He had the 6 and 7-year-old boys. And Paul is right in the mix of the playoffs with Queen Anne's County Parks and Rec. So we're excited to see what his team will do this weekend and next weekend. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the county commissioners to recognize these volunteers.
Well, thank you very much. And I tell you, when you get around and watch some of these programs, the amount of volunteers that we have in this county is just amazing. This is just the beginning. I know we've got some other people we're going to be recognizing down the road for other aspects of sports and different sports. But for a little county of less than 19,000 people, it's amazing that we have people that'll give that much of their time.
It truly is.
It is, so I'm going to read one of them, and one of these, they're all the same, but there's a stack of these people. It's nice to have a couple of yous in here tonight. We appreciate that. It says Certificate of Recognition. This is proudly presented to, in this case, Beth Bauer, is hereby recognized for your outstanding dedication as a youth basketball coach. Your commitment to nurturing young athletes, both on and off the court, is truly commendable. Keep up the fantastic work, as your efforts are shaping the future of these young athletes and instilling valuable life lessons through the love of the game. Your hard work and dedication does not go unnoticed, and this recognition is a testament to the positive influence you have on Kent County's youth. Continue to inspire and empower the next generation of basketball stars with your coaching skills and unwavering support. Signed, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Ronald H. Fithian, President, Albert Nickerson, Member, John Price, Member, dated March the 5th, 2024. And want me to just read these? And there's only a couple of them here, so you want to come up and we'll read them off, and you can make sure that these people, or I guess you're going to make sure they get them, or the
I'll absolutely make sure.
Okay. So first of all, we had Beth Bauer, Anthony Black. I don't know how else to do this. And I think I'm going to pronounce this close as Tyrese Frazier. Thomas Goldborough. Sam Herlock. Lauren Jones. Deontez Lee. John Mann.
He's actually here.
Antoine Reed. Maggie Schmidt. Jarman Thomas. Watson Tinch. Paul Tu. And Jacqueline Walters. And again, thank you all. Give them a round of applause. Absolutely. We can have pictures with a couple of them if. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you for the meeting. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I do. Happy to do it. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you.
Okay. There we go. That's got it.
Thank you all. And then next up, we have Ms. Jill Coleman again, Director of Parks and Rec, for Parks and Recreational Annual Report for 2022 to 2023.
So, yeah, in front of you, passed out, this is our annual report and review for 2022-23. First, I have to apologize to, and hopefully he hasn't even recognized it yet, but Commissioner Nickerson. Your name was misspelled one time on the left-hand side of the letter from the director. It's spelled correctly up top, but it's misspelled down below. So I apologize. Shore Strategies was supposed to fix that and reprint them, but they ran into a snag and didn't get them quite to us. So, but it's in the process of being corrected.
It's fine.
Kent County Parks and Recreation, I'm delighted to unveil our annual report for 2022-2023. Our primary objective is to offer excellent programming and facilities for the enjoyment of all, and we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all contributions for their invaluable support in ensuring the success of our programs. Throughout the past year, we have welcomed new team members and anticipate collaborating with a dedicated and forward-thinking team committed to introducing initiative approaches to programming, operations, and safety. Our focus is on creating programs and experiences that promote a sense of belonging, engaging our community by emphasizing play and social connection. In my first year as department director, I've collaborated closely with the team to establish objectives aiming to deliver exceptional customer services in a welcoming environment, extensive distributions of program details to keep the community informed, and we're offering diverse environmental health, wellness, aquatic, sports programming, catering to our youth, teenagers, adults, and seniors. I'd like to thank a special thank you to our commissioners, our advisory board, and our county administrator for their ongoing support in providing recreational opportunities countywide. Our team, so it would have been our next slide, but it's in page 3. So our team, Kent County array of programs, parks, and facilities are made possible by a committed team of recreation and park experts. The recreation team, operating under Kent County Parks and Recreation, orchestrates over 100 programs each year, while the Parks team, part of the Department of Public Works, oversees the upkeeps of Kent County's 289 acres of parks and open areas. Our department goals, 2022-23, were to improve and expand our recreation programs for all county residents, to enhance our parks and recreation facilities, to advocate for recreational use of public spaces, to increase our youth engagement in communities, and to retain a skilled workforce in parks and recreation. Our program growth and expansion, in 2023, Kent County Parks and Recs offered a diverse selection of 103 programs tailored to various ages. Responding to community demands, the program team at Kent County Parks and Rec focused on elevating recreational options. Among the standout initiatives was Kent County Youth Indoor Soccer Program, which involved 90 children from ages 4 to 12. It was a skilled enhanced program. The department also broadened its volleyball program to help expand the actual program for the high school. And we actually developed an indoor volleyball program and a sand outdoor volleyball program. Our recreation by numbers, we offered 103 programs. We had 1,351 total program participation. We provided 30 scholarships. We had 15 community events. We had over 2,000 plus community event attendees. We had 243 participants in our sport leagues, which consist of volleyball, softball, basketball, adult softball, and wrestling. We had 671 patrons who either renewed or purchased a facility access card to the community center. And we have 180 kids who participated in our summer camps and our after-school programs. Our parks and facilities, we provided swimming options at various locations for children, individuals, and families in Kent County. In 2023, the swimming facilities received a total of 31,630 visitors, with the highest at the Kent County Community Center pool. Exclude Betterton Beach, if you just talk about the pool, Betterton Beach actually had the highest. Additionally, the county offers private rentals at parks and recreational facilities, with pavilions and the community center being the most popular choice for rentals in 2023. Capital investments and improvements, these were through the help of Dan Matson, which is Director of Department of Public Works, along with the state of Maryland's program Open Space and Local Parks and Program Initiative funding. We were able to get at Wharton Park LED lighting on a baseball and multi-purpose fields. We replaced the playground equipment and swings, and we replaced the pavilion rental. We replaced the pavilion roof. At Millington Park, we replaced the tennis courts, which included pickleball lines. We replaced the basketball posts, backboards, and half-court lines, and repaved the parking area. At Betterton Beach, we replaced the new roof on the pavilion. Eastville Park, we installed a new swing set, and at Bayside Pool, we installed a slip-proof flooring in the bathroom. Partnerships this year, we see all of our partners that are listed. Together, we have about 25 partners, and we're always looking for new partners that we can partner with. This year, some of our bigger partners that we partnered with were Washington College men's and women's basketball team. We partnered with their soccer team. We partnered with their field hockey team to put on clinics for our youth. And there's been approximately 30 to 50 youth that would come and to attend those clinics with the Washington College kids. Our highlight this year, our partner spot highlight was Wayne Gilchrist. We can't say enough about Wayne. He always volunteers with our monthly senior hike, and he does a wonderful job with that. So we're looking forward to doing some more things with Wayne, hopefully in the near future. Our community events, we're committed to providing diverse and engaging opportunities for community members of all ages. These were some of our most popular community events. We had the Teen Luau, the Betterton Beach Cleanup, our Fishing Derby, our Fall Harvest. And of course, we can't forget the doggies when we do our Doggy Palooza. We have to include the dog lovers of Kent County, where the dogs get to come out and use the pool right before we shut it down for the remainder of the season. So that is our year in review for 2022-23. I'd like to thank you guys for granting me the opportunity to serve as your Director of Parks and Recreation. Does anyone have any questions?
No, but I'm going to turn that around too, and we appreciate the job that you do for us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
Great job, great presentation. You just deserve a great deal of credit. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Very well done. Anybody else?
No, sir. I just
You said it
echo
very
those.
well.
Yep, I echo those sentiments. Thank you.
Very good. Now we've got you down for one more issue.
All right, so I'm here this evening to seek approval to award and sign the contract for CW Services through the county's bidding process, totaling $39,652.96 to replace the shallow end of the community center pool and rebalancing our pool. Then, along with that, I'd also, since the project come under budget, I'd also like to propose using the under budgeted money of $7,144.95 to do power washing to our decks at Millington Pool and the Community Center Pool building. There's also in your packet, I've attached photos that show the current conditions of our pool decks and our walkways.
And you're still under budget.
And I'm still under budget.
Same company doing the work, Jim?
We put it out, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, award, and sign contract for CW Services LLC under the county bidding process in the amount of $39,652.96 for replastering and balancing the shallow end of the community center pool. In addition, approve her request to allocate $7,144.95 of the over budgeted funds to use to power wash the decks, walkways, community center, and Millington, and the building at the Millington Pool.
Second.
I have a second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And one other thing before we, I just wanted to say that the community center, I'm not sure how old it is now, but
10.
10 years old
I was
probably.
thinking it's 10.
It's about
Looks
10.
like brand new. Very well kept. It's a beautiful facility and it takes a lot of effort to keep something.
I was gonna say, if,
No, it's
if it
probably
was
15 years old, right?
2010, I believe.
10, then,
Would it,
yeah, I was thinking
13,
09.
Yeah, I remember the dedication.
I think
of it.
09 they started building. I think 10 they opened like January.
I'll tell you what, it was back, the
Summertime,
dedication
the
took
dedication.
place when Mr. Hawkins was still a commissioner. I can't think of Rolf, but he and Larry Beck and myself, I think, were in office when it was dedicated, and it was obviously construction was before that. But that place looks, I get in and out of there once in a while, and it looks like it's brand new. And that's a real dedication to your staff and Mark Dixon's group that helps out there. They do a fantastic job in keeping that facility looking like new.
Thank you.
Pleasure to walk in it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Jamie Williams, Director of Economic and Tourism Development.
Actually, I'm tired from listening to everything Jill's done.
What's that?
I'm tired listening to everything that Jill has done, which is great. No, and I will say, so for our job, economic and tourism development, we're on social media a lot, and I am seeing a lot of stuff from Parks and Rec, and that's a way to get the word out to the community of events that are happening. So she's doing a really good job with that.
Very good.
So I have before you approval for it started a long time ago. In September of 2022, the Maryland Office of Tourism Development informed each DMO, which Destination Marketing Organization, which our tourism office is for the state of Maryland, for Kent County, that they were earmarked for a grant of up to $112,000, we were told, from the EDA, that's the federal program, U.S. Department of Commerce. And it was a requirement that each DMO submit a grant application that would then be approved. So we submitted the grant application that's in your packet on November 2nd of 2023, and the money's to be expended over FY24 and FY25. And we're going to use it for television and streaming radio marketing, which is normally something's not quite attainable to us because of our budget size. On February 13th, of 2024, we received the approval, and then on the 15th, we received the letter that's in your packet, the official letter, and Shalyn completed the training. Once she completed the training and submitted the W-9, she was advised that the person signing the grant agreement has to take the training. So that's when we talked to county administrator, and we'd like to propose that Shelley Heller, county administrator, be able to complete the training and be authorized to sign that grant agreement on behalf of the county commissioners. Shalyn has taken the training, she knows what's involved, so we'll make sure that we're passing on good documentation before we submit it to Shelley.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the grant agreement as presented and authorize our county administrator to take the training on behalf of the commissioners.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Jamie, while you're here, this is probably a good segue into this as far as economic development and tourism. I know you were present at a meeting that took place down Easton at the community center down there about the new regulations that have come down affecting the charter boat business throughout the state and the commercial fishing industry. And I'm going to read a letter. I'd like to take a minute and read it that the three of us have prepared to. We're going to send it. And it's to the Honorable Josh Kurtz, Secretary of Natural Resources, Tall State Office Building, regarding new measures from the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission to limit Atlantic striped bass. And it's a letter of opposition. And it goes on to read, Dear Secretary Kurtz, we, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, submit our opposition to the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission's Addendum to Amendment 7 of the Interstate Fishery Management Plan for Atlantic striped bass. We're frustrated with the one fish bag limit, the increased slot limit, and the restricted season dates, which will negatively affect the charter boat industry. Also, the commercial gill and pound netters will have the total allocation reduced by an additional 7%. These regulations will gravely affect local small business models that operate in the charter boat and commercial fishing industries. Our constituents are already reporting cancellations and reductions in reserved trips. The economic impact on our county and its waterfront businesses will bear financial losses and erode the economic growth we have worked so hard to develop. For many years, these industries have operated with reductions in harvesting and strict regulatory compliance, yet they have remained in operation. This year's restrictions are the tipping point that will unquestionably force good businesses to close their doors. We respectfully request your assistance to help safeguard the small business community. Kent County is open for business, and we want to keep it that way. Signed, County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Ronald H. Fithian, President, Albert Nickerson, Member, and John Price, Member. And this will go to, as we said, Secretary Kurtz, and it'll be CC'd to Governor Wes Moore and their 36 delegations. So just...
We definitely are hearing from our tourism partners that this is going to affect their businesses. As you guys have stated before, it's lodging, it's restaurants.
No, the trickle down effect is it's going to be greater than they can imagine. I think it's going to.
In 2022, Kent County had $72 million in visitor spending, and that helps buoy our economy here. So to have it hit there is very detrimental to Kent County.
Some of these waterfront towns around the Chesapeake Bay, that's what their industry is. I mean, it's either in the little town of Rock Hall, the marinas. We got a population of 1,350 people, full-time residents. We got over 1,500 boat slips in the same. They all turn into second homes. Those people come here for the boating, and all that it brings. So it's it's really it's going to be a gut punch, I think, and I'm not sure everybody realizes how dramatic it's going to be yet. But just for an example, I was confronted by a good friend of mine who was in the charter boat business, been in it for years, probably has one of the best businesses in the town of Rock Hall. And he asked me what was going to take, if there was anything we could do about it. And I said, well, we're obviously going to oppose it. And then I think there's some issues that's going to come down the road that that's going to be tried to maybe turn this thing around. But he gave me an example. He said he had one group that he takes fishing and been taking them for years, and they called him up and they booked 10 trips. They take 10 trips a year. So he booked them, give them the dates, and then they went to the coffee shop later, and they started hearing rumbles about these restrictions on the fishing. And they called him back 2 or 3 days later and said, "Is that really true? What we're hearing up here in Pennsylvania about these restrictions?" And he said, "Well, if they don't change them, that's what's been recommended." And they said, "Well, it's been a struggle to come down there for 2 fish. So when they cut it to 1, we're going to have to cancel our 10 trips." That was just one incident, one boat, and that's the way it's going to go, I'm afraid. But
I'm learning a lot, obviously, listening to the meetings and concerns, but you also gotta look at the common sense side of it. And if you're handling those fish and putting them back, and they're dying anyway, they're not going to get you to the point of trying to replenish rockfish because they're gonna die. So there's also some things that just don't make common sense when you follow it down the line.
Right. So anyhow, we wanted to make it public that we're speaking out against it, and we hope maybe something will get worked out down the road.
Thank you.
Scott Boone, Director, Information and Technology. Welcome.
The first item we have for you is an update on ARPA spending. The good news is we came in under budget by about $21,541.14, and that was for projects that totaled about $4,300,000 were brought in and managed. So the majority of it was state matching, but what I'm referencing is the portion of the 5% ARPA fund match that we applied to those grants. And that 4.3 and change, all those projects are complete at this time. So,
Very good.
questions about that?
Very good. Anyone kind of questions of Scott?
Okay, the next item actually deals with security for this building in particular. I've been here for 16, 17 years, something like that. But so the panic button.
So when was the community center built?
I can tell you. I'm pretty sure it was done. Yeah.
I think it's built 9, opened 10.
That's right. Because I remember working with Jeff. It was Jeff Troster, I think. We were working at that time. But anyway, so this building, much older than that, when it was renovated. So the panic button situations, as you know, we have those touch buttons throughout the building that silently notify law enforcement that there's an issue. The original system was probably installed back in 99, 98 when this building was renovated. The problem is over the years, twofold. One is that we rely on POTS lines, which are plain old telephone, right, like home phone lines, right? Well, they're going through a deregulation process right now, so we're trying to move away from standard telephone lines, okay? So they're going away. The cost is just going to exponentially go up, and so we need to move away to different technology. The current panic system relies on that old technology that's going through deregulation. So we wanted to move to something that was probably cellular-based or network-based. The other issue we have is sourcing any materials for the current system. We're looking on eBay. The last time we did this 5-6 years ago, we were looking, they're just contact closures, but what you don't want to do in a facility where you have people that can move from office to office, place to place, you want everything to look the same, right? So while a contact closure is just a contact closure, you want someone to be able to look at it and go, I know what that is. They're panicked, right? They're not thinking, they press the button and help is on the way. So we're kind of running out of options to rehabilitate the system that we have. In fact, some of the ones we have, I think on the last trial run, they said that you have to kind of push them in really hard, hold it for a little bit before it activates. It served its purpose, it's time to move on. So we contacted Atlantic Security and said, can you do a walkthrough with us? And what they proposed, what you have in front of you, it's a total of 22 panic buttons that would be identical for all users throughout the building. And it's a cellular-based technology. It will report the correct location. So we recommend moving forward with that. And I believe the total amount for the panic buttons out of contingency funds, because we didn't budget for this, we didn't know the condition was as far along as it is, but it's $5,327.48 to replace the system with something new. Do you want to go into the second one too and do them all both together, or?
And I'm just going to jump in. The approval would be subject to legal review. There are some things in their contract that we typically don't approve in contracts that I think Scott's getting in touch with the vendor.
Mm-hmm. They have your notes.
Okay.
We're just waiting for.
Yeah.
Very good. We entered.
Do you want to do the second one?
Yeah, you can move on if you'd like.
Okay, so the second one is the camera system that we have in here. Again, it's a little bit dated. When we put it in, it was really kind of what we had. available in our budget at the time. It's sort of a patchwork. The problem we have is the NVR, the recording device, when it dies, a lot of times the cameras that we have are no longer compatible, so it's kind of like you replace this and you have to replace that. They're not truly an enterprise type solution. Again, we went back to Atlantic Security because, as you know, in public safety, and I believe at the community center, they already have a presence there. So again, we're looking for a unified system where law enforcement has access to one. They're not jumping from this system to that system to try and, if there was a large scale event, we want to have it a comprehensive, across the board, same type of system. So again, it would be out of contingency funds. The total for camera replacements for this building would be $6,995. And we are recommending that pending legal review, that you supply the contingency funds to replace the system with the Atlantic Security proposal.
Very good. Any questions?
I guess I have a couple of questions about our Homeland Security grant money. Which I think when we put that system in here initially, we utilized some of that money to help pay for the system that we put in. Is there
I don't know what the
a
status
possibility?
is offhand. I would have to get that information.
I mean, I don't have, I agree. I mean, I'm looking at a panic button right here that looks like it's from 1960.
I did try pushing that tonight when Captain Newberry came in and nobody.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work. So.
There you go.
I don't have a problem with doing any of this, but I'd like to see if we could use
I can look into the status of where we are.
some of the
with that.
Homeland Security money to maybe help fund what you're asking for.
Makes sense.
And I'm glad you brought that up because Atlantic Security also did the badge system. So again, it puts it under
Yeah.
one roof.
Makes sense. So, how we want to do that? You want to wait and hear back from Shelley about that, or can we go ahead and just
You could do a
do it,
contingent
hoping that we can use this?
motion,
Yeah, we can do
saying
a
looking
contingent
into the
motion.
Homeland
Okay.
Security first, and then whatever.
If that doesn't work, then
Yeah, exactly.
okay. So I'm going to take them separately so there's no confusion. So the first motion is going to be to approve the allocation of $5,303 from the FY24 contingency fund unless the Homeland Security grant that the county receives will cover that upgrade. For additional panic buttons at the county government center, and name Atlantic Security as the sole source vendor pending legal review.
Second.
That's the first motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, John.
The next one is a motion to approve the use of the remaining IT capital funds in the amount of $6,630.41 to purchase security cameras, hardware, and approve the allocation of $2,364.59 from the FY24 contingency funds or the Homeland Security grant for the replacement of security cameras at the county government center and name Atlantic Security as the sole source vendor pending legal review.
I got motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Scott,
What?
before you, I'm sorry.
No,
before you
I
leave-
think we're probably going to ask the same
Yeah,
thing, but you go
okay, I was
ahead.
gonna, have you gotten together with the Ag Center committee at all on the, I know we have spoke Friday, and I thought they were gonna be here, but
Yeah, I was hoping to be here too.
I didn't know whether or not they've reached out, or have you made any contact with them, or is that just something that we need to do?
The last one was really on the heels of when I spoke with you.
Okay.
They had my cell phone. I told Amanda, I said, anytime, call me. Any questions they have, we're ready to go.
Okay,
And the backstory is that, what we're trying to do is collaborate a little bit more on communication. So when we have events, it's the county and the committee, we're both saying, hey, let's meet up 2-3 weeks ahead of time to ensure everything's working properly, are we supplying what you're looking for, that kind of thing. But
Okay.
the door's open.
okay, very good.
Would it help to solve that problem if we had the high-speed internet? on that property?
Well,
We do.
Yeah, we do. We have gig at that place. So this is where the disconnect is that it's like it's like having high volume water pipe going into a building with coffee straws. Okay, so it depends on how you're taking that bandwidth and distributing it. And so what we currently have there is really, again, it's like a patchwork where we're climbing up on ladders and barns and putting these small radios up in there to take a head-end radio, take the signal, and then broadcast it farther and farther and farther. The problem is it's a large campus area, right? So what we proposed is we gave them the option to build fiber, but on their campus from where the county's gigabit handoff is to 3 other areas. So from that, they'll have 100% here, 100% here, 100% here, 100% here. The way mesh networks work is you have 100% currently. You have 100% and you transmit, you lose 50%. Then from there you're down to like 25%. So each node you hop, you lose more and more bandwidth. So our proposal to them is to take that head end, take that same amount of bandwidth and extend it to 3 other locations on the campus, and then you're only ever going to be 50% away. So when you get back there to where those trailers are in the back, I mean, you're back beyond the 25%. I mean, there's this,
Right,
it's
right, okay.
good luck. And then the other issue that we always have is, we're doing it on nickels and dimes and, in blood, sweat, and tears. And so we're plugging in outlets that we hope no one's going to turn the power off. So that's where communication comes into it as well. So we see the radios go down. Sometimes it's just a power switch to turn it off.
So this site is on our backbone. This already has fiber run to the site and is one of our anchor sites
It's
for
just
our
Think
project.
Big has,
Correct.
Well, it is their service, but it's ours. So it's our
Right.
fiber. It's your fiber that you own that goes to that site where we take our gig internet and pump it into there.
okay,
So it's yours.
Okay.
It's taxpayers.
I got you. Okay. And then there was going to be another issue about, there was going to be a request about cutting the grass there. That was on this agenda originally. It was,
Correct.
they were going to bring a request. There was 2 things. One of them was the issue with the internet, and the other one was about the cutting the grass.
Right, and they requested to be moved off of the agenda. I'm not sure exactly why, but I have forwarded the request to Dan Mattson regarding mowing to see what staff can accommodate. And I do not have the answer yet.
And when I was preparing for tonight, I placed a call to Mark Dixon, just asked him what his thoughts was about it, because they take care of all the grass. He said his opinion is we also have a request for Kennedyville, and they called about the mowing around that. He said what he would recommend, this is coming from Mark, is that he thinks county roads could easily take care of mowing the ag center, and they would take care of mowing Kennedyville. And he said they've got a piece of equipment that would be better suited. County roads has a better piece of equipment that's better. So
Okay.
he said we would find no problem with that at all.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That's it.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Scott.
County administrator.
Okay, I have 2 items for you this evening, but one item has already been discussed, and that is that letter of opposition to Secretary Kurtz.
Mm-hmm.
The second item is a request from the Kent Historical Society. They would like to apply for a grant for a $16,700 grant from the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority. They are requesting a letter of support for said grant. The initiative would include, if approved, inventorying and cataloging about 28 boxes of Kent County related photographic negatives that are 40 to 90 years old currently. So they want to preserve them and then also have events to gather more information and to share what they have.
Do we need a motion?
That would be terrific.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to send the support letter as drafted.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it.
I'll also make another motion to proceed with sending the letter of opposition as discussed earlier on the agenda.
Got a motion, I got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Very good. Now, now's the time for public comment or media review. Anybody want to address the commissioners? This is the time to do it.
All right if I get up? Let's go with you, Howard. I'm gonna
Keep your
stand.
finger on that
Legs
button,
behind
John.
me.
It's not working.
Kicker. I want to thank you very much for that letter of support, guys. As Ronnie knows, he knows we're working on this from another avenue too that we're moving forward with this week. And that letter of support is the most important. The one thing I want to emphasize, it is an initial hit for the charter boats at the One Fish, and that is a 50% right out of the gate and as much as a 68% reduction in their ability to be able to work. But the important thing is also, I don't want to let the commercial guys down on this one. Initially, the Department of Natural Resources told us that would not go into effect this year because the 7%, they could not enact it. We had already been issued our quota, our tags, and our papers, and they were going to do it next year. And that comment was made by Mr. Luisi not only at the ASMSC meetings, it was made at the TFAC, Tidal Fish Advisory Committee. In the process, I sent Lynn Fagley, who's the Director of Fisheries, I sent her a letter saying we need to quantify this. Are my commercial fishermen, are they going to be penalized 7% this year? And she sent back and she said, well, the ASMSC has mandated that we do it this year. So what they're going to do is that, let's say that Ronnie had 5,000 pounds of fish. He caught it in January. The fish are caught, nets are off the boat, money's in the bank. He went to Disney World with the kids and grandkids, spent all the money. Can they take that 7%? No. They're going to take it off of this year and add it to next year. So Ronnie will get a 14% reduction next year instead of a 7%. And we found legally that is taking. So we're contesting that too, that they have made that move. So, but the department is going to move ahead with it. And I'll be honest with you, the department has shown as of today, they have shown no willful move to put forward to the charter boat industry or the commercial industry to right this wrong. The only comment that we got was from the secretary saying that we are trying to get a fish for the captain and a fish for the mate to go in with that one fish. And our answer to that was, well, then we no longer need a charter license. We get a $50 sticker and no more electronic reporting. Of course, they got upset about it, but I said, rules are rules and regs are regs. You know, if you're taking away from us, we're going to take about 400,000 away from you. So they're upset about that. But this letter of support, I mean, we've had literally hundreds of letters coming in from industries. I mean, the restaurants, one of my, and Ronnie talked about his story. My buddy had a gentleman that came to Talbot County, had a group that comes in 12 times a year. And when they come and they stay Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, and leave Sunday. And they rent all the rooms at Lowe's Wharf, which is down there in Tillman. They're not coming this year. That's $3,000 a night, and they come 12 times. He had 27 parties booked on his book as of last week. Yesterday, he has 4. And he's got a young daughter, putting her through college. He has a business that he runs, the charter boat industry. But fortunately, he also fishes in Ocean City, and he's moving his business out of Talbot to Virginia to Cape Charles. So that's another loss. 4 other charter boats have now relocated in Delaware and Ocean City because they're done with the bay. Can't make the money. And like Ronnie said, the cascading and the domino effect. I mean, it's like, a commercial fisherman, everybody said a dead fish is a dead fish. If I'm on my boat, when I put a tag in that fish, when I kick him out the boat, 9 other people handle that fish. Truck drivers, shippers, packers, buyers, restaurant cooks, waitresses, I mean, go down the list. They're all going to pay for it too. So once again, I want to thank you very much from Delmarva Fisheries and for the support that you give the Kent County Watermen's Association, which is great. They applaud this. And is there a chance I could get a copy of that letter emailed to me so we could post it on our website?
Sure.
It'll be a part of our packet after it's uploaded.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
I guess we're We got a closed session, right?
Before we go to closed session, I was asked yesterday, one particular question. I was asked about what's going on with Miss Betty Carroll's replacement.
And picked, I think.
What's
I
that?
think Susan Pritchett was.
I do not know. As it happens, I sent an email this morning asking for a status, and I have not heard back from the
I
governor's
think
office
Susan
yet.
Pritchett was appointed.
Okay.
You might want to contact the Central Committee, because I think they had more to do with that appointment and recommendation. They might have heard.
They may have heard, but they are actually not part of the process. They may have been asked out of courtesy to give input. Same as the commissioners, they, out of courtesy, asked for input, but it really is a governor appointment.
And I followed up with Shelley earlier too about the tax appeal.
Assessment.
That's another
assessment.
appointment that
Yes.
we're waiting on.
Well, I think that according to Shelley today, that's been taken care of, correct?
And they're scheduling hearings.
Yes. So I just wanted to say
Who are
that
the
out
new
loud.
members?
That I do not know. Do we have offhand who the new members
One's,
of the?
call for
I
it.
know of one. Right. I think the last
Got it.
we heard for sure, we were still waiting on the alternate, but that wasn't gonna hold up the
Right.
hearings.
Right,
Yes.
One was Eric Coulthard.
right.
Yes, correct.
So at least we are in good standing. I just wanted to.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
All right, then I'll, you want to make a motion to go into closed session?
Sure. I'll make a motion to go into closed session under the Annotated Code of Maryland, General Provisions, Article 3-305B1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluations of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, and to consult with staff, consultants, and other individuals about pending or potential litigation. The topic that we will be discussing is a personnel matter and legal advice concerning the claim.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it, we are in closed session.
I'm going across the bridge, so you want to hit that button, I'm going across the bridge. Oh, yeah, sure. Don't go in session yet, she wants my autograph.
Probably be easier to get that from the post office.
Yeah,
No, that's where you get his picture.
keep it up.
Sometimes we hold it and I just not so recent.
Yeah, so I'm going across the bridge, so if you want to send them, they can get me up.
Thank you, thank you.